This week's episode, we have a rare find for an independent film. Let's just say that, which is a B movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talk about a lot in this. It has a lot to offer on a lot of levels, and I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. We talk about simple storytelling and how hard it is to find family movies.
Yes.
In the V realm.
That's what makes it a rare treasure.
Yeah. It's really fun. It's something that you're able to watch with the whole family.
Yes.
And there's a lot of good camera work and just everything.
It top to bottom.
Yeah.
It really, it's another one that checks pretty much all the boxes. One minor boo-boo.
Well,
but,
yeah.
Other than that, it was really fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
all right. So shall we get rolling on this?
Let's do it.
We're gone.
Okay. Hey, B-siders. You gotta stop.
Keep going.
Yeah. Hey, B-siders.
You made a face at me.
Welcome to another episode of Bravo for the B-side. I'm Danny.
I'm Jim.
And this week we are covering a family movie.
Yeah.
Pretty rare.
It's extremely rare, really, for indie films.
Yes.
Horror being like the number one,
and
then drama, romance, comedy, and then a bunch of stuff, and then family.
Yeah, like way at the bottom. Really hard to find family films. But I'm super excited about this one because it's so fun, and I've been waiting to talk about it.
Yes.
For a while now. So why don't you jump in and tell us about it?
All right. So our movie for this week is Spit, a story of a caveman and his chicken.
Did you look that up? Because I know we were arguing about caveman and a chicken.
No, I'm going with that.
Okay.
It was put out in 2017. The director is Jonathan Stymack. Written by Jonathan Stymack, Andrew Cook, and Ryan Shields Johnston. Starring Jesse Logan, B.J. Johnston, Carla Cook, Bethany Stymack, and
the big star,
Puck the Chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The real star.
So it doesn't have a rating because, again, not released in theaters, but it is a family movie.
It is.
100%.
Yeah.
We watched it with our daughter.
She loved it.
Well, I guess that's not a good metric because we watch certain things. Anyway, it's super family. This would have no problem being on Disney.
Oh yeah.
The budget when I looked it up was $500,000. I don't know. I kind of maybe can see that. One thing to note is this was shot in Hawaii, so this is our first Hawaiian independent film. Right. And I don't know what kinds of things they have to do in Hawaii. Like it could easily cost $500,000 if you think of licensing and permits for shooting and stuff.
Yeah.
Because they were all over that island.
That is true. And they had helicopters and stuff.
Yep. They had helicopter shots, which is not cheap. So anyway,
you have the wrong log line up there.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Well, I don't need the log line. I can explain it.
What?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. Okay. I just looked it up and that's not on the top 10. And okay. Anyway. Oh boy.
Well, then maybe that's wrong too.
Huh.
What happened to my fucking sheet?
We're going to have to start this whole thing over.
No, we're not. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to explain what the movie's about, and then I'm going to double check this goddamn budget.
Okay.
The hell? How can I miss the middle of the fucking sheet?
I don't know.
Got all the other shit above and below it. And then that one piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, just bring it up there.
And that's split, not spit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, oh my God.
Okay, hold on.
You know, there's an easy way to do this. This is what you call being prepared. Just go to IMDb.
I'm on it now.
I'm looking and you're not.
It's loading. Okay.
It?
Here's. Do you want me to read the log line here?
Sure.
A quirky caveman sets out on a journey to find his family after they accidentally bury him alive, and along the way he meets a very unusual traveling partner, a chicken.
There we go.
Yeah.
I could have done that. Okay, so there we are.
And 500,000 is the estimated budget on here, so that was correct.
All right, just had the wrong thing. Fuck.
So
okay, so yeah, Big Island Productions, and that's the group in Hawaii that did it. They have a few shorts to their name, and I just wanted to mention that again because, again, this is our first one. I don't know how many Hawaiian indie productions are out there, but it's worth mentioning. And if we find more, we'll bring them up. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff from New Zealand, a lot of stuff from Australia, shorts and features, some stuff from the UK, Scotland. I mean,
lots of stuff from the US too.
Yeah, even Canada. So well, Hawaii is the US.
Well, yeah, but it's okay. The continental US.
There we go. Well, Anton did Alaska.
That's not the continental U.S.
Well, I suppose actually it is.
I mean,
it's the continent. It's not the lower 48. It's not the contiguous.
Right.
Okay.
We're getting into semantics now.
Yeah. Hey, I got an idea. How about we get into this movie?
Let's do it.
All right. So Spit, and it's yeah. Okay.
Jump right in.
I'm jumping right in. So it opens with an animation of the Earth, and it has a pretty humorous voiceover as it's going along. And it's taking us back to the time of the cave people. And as the credits roll, we have some nice scenic shots of Hawaii, where this was made. A lot of coastal stuff.
Really pretty.
Heavily vegetated. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Makes me want to go to Hawaii.
I know.
So we're in the woods, and there's a guy running.
There is.
And it almost, right away, is kind of funny because he's running. And then it cuts to some beautiful vegetation, the coastal shots, and then running. And he's described by the narrator, who right away makes a big entrance in this movie, as not a warrior.
Very explicit.
Yeah, but an inventor. And he's named Spit. Makes sense. I do like that we get a name right away. We don't always get that.
Right.
Looking at you. Lots of other movies.
I know. I was taken aback. Like, we're not 120 seconds in, and we have a name.
Yeah.
And a sense of what's going on.
Yeah. I like it.
So 5 stars for those categories.
Anyway, Spit is a caveman, which is pretty evident.
Yeah.
He's wearing the loincloth and the, over the furs and stuff. And the narrator's talking a lot. Really quickly, he's just rapid fire going through a bunch of jokes and stuff.
Yeah.
It's good.
Then we see some pterodactyls. And then the voiceover exclaims, "Dinosaurs!" And it says, "Get a good look, everybody. You won't see many of them. They're on the brink of extinction."
Yep.
Okay, I got you.
Sure.
So now we're following them gliding through the sky. And it was actually it's decent graphics.
It was decent. If I had to be super nitpicky, the wings were a little blocky in some shots, but overall they were pretty good.
Well, yeah. I mean, this wouldn't hold up to, ILM.
Well, I'm not tearing it apart. I'm just saying,
when I was looking at it, I thought, well, they did pretty good because how many, fucking stock CGI dinosaur bits are you going to get out there?
Why don't you ask Asylum?
They make their own. And they're not suitable for stock.
Sure.
I'm absolutely sure. That's.
Ooh, okay. They make those all by themselves, huh?
You can't tell. Anyway.
So then we're with some other cavemen who are throwing sticks at a fern. And it's like some target practice-y thing that they're doing. None of them are particularly good at it.
Well, no, but one did hit it. Well, they hit the stick.
Right.
The fern is on.
Yeah.
And one actually did clip the fern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we learn that Spit has a wife and daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And they're much cuter than Spit.
Well, they're clean.
They are clean, yeah. He's real dirty and grimy, and, his hair is, like, dreaded and funky looking. And they're super clean and super cute. And right away, I'm like, oh, man, they're too cute. Something tragic is going to happen to them. And then Spit joins the stick throwing game.
Yes.
And the narrator explained that Spit. Spit's pretty terrible at all the normal caveman things.
Yes.
Yeah. He's not a hunter. He's not a fighter.
No.
But he is good at one thing. He's a dreamer, and he's a crafty guy. And he makes inventions.
Yes.
And so we get kind of a little bit of a montage-y thing where he's like banging some rocks and prancing through some fields and carving a little stone dinosaur with a long neck.
Yep.
Which the narrator at this point takes pains to point out the dinosaurs are super rare, in case you didn't get it the first time we saw dinosaurs in this movie.
Yeah.
Well, the only time. The little carving, I guess, doesn't count. But also that, Spit. Oh, man. Ooh.
You're going to keep calling him Stick through the whole thing?
Yeah. We've renamed this movie. That he hasn't seen a long-necked dinosaur in a really long time.
Right. And since he was a kid or something.
And the dinosaurs at this point are more legend than reality. Because they're so very rare.
And a quick interjection. Nothing about this film claims any accuracy within the historic or archaeological record. It's a family film for fun. So just because I know someone's out there going, there weren't fucking anything on two legs,
Well,
when there was dinosaurs and they're gone and this and that. But hey, you know what? I grew up in the Flintstones. So yeah.
Flintstones were awesome.
If Red Flintstone can have a Brontofucking-saurus burger, then this movie's okay.
I feel like a Brontosaurus burger is like...
I think it's like a giant fucking buffalo burger.
I know, but what I'm saying
is
it would be like politically incorrect if you like lived with dinosaurs and worked with them. It'd be like having a dog burger.
That's fair. Although it's not like they work with them. They utilize them as tools.
Yeah.
So you're eating your tool.
Well, I love the Flintstones. I feel like it's in bad taste to eat your pets and stuff.
People eat their sled dogs. Or have.
Anyway,
okay.
So we won't see a lot of dinosaurs. Narrator points this out again.
Yep. Just in case there was any expectations.
Yeah.
It's been cleared. So anyway, what's been being explained to us is the rains are coming, and apparently they need to go somewhere else during the rains if they want to survive. So they're packing up, and that's when Spit gives his daughter the little toy dinosaur that he made.
Mm-hmm.
And it's at this point, I just noted this has a very Monty Python feel to it.
Yeah.
The movement, the framing, the camera shots and how it does, it really does feel like watching Life of Brian or Holy Grail or even their the Monty Python show.
Yeah.
From way back.
The narrator adds to that too.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, it's just a very signature feel. Mm-hmm. And this kind of like captured it. So anyway, we are reminded that Spit is very bad with directions. He's taken one of his tribesmen to his invention, gets lost along the way. The tribesman actually guides him. And it's a small cart with 4 wheels.
Yep.
And it's on a little hill in the woods. So Spit sits on it and then rocks himself forward down the hill, and he's flying down the hill.
Yeah.
And this is way better than the Titanic shot.
Yes.
He's just going. And then fun gives way to terror as the need for brakes becomes very clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One invention at a time.
Spoiler. There are no brakes. So Spit crashes and then flies through the air headfirst into a tree. His cart comes completely undone. His friend is calling his name. He gets no response. And he listens for Spit's heartbeat in his head. Mm-hmm. And then the poor fellow is written off as dead.
Yep.
He's out. He's done. So
cavemen weren't too bright.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I mean, they might have been, honestly, but this is a movie, so
you
they're
lift
not.
their hand and it drops. You slap them in the face and they don't move. Well, it's time to move on.
Yeah.
All right. So the friend drags his dead, unconscious, really, body back to camp. And he tells everyone Spit is dead, and they're all very upset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's a caveman funeral happening.
Yeah.
And it was cute, but I didn't really feel the need to, write it out, so I just wrote down some thoughts. The costumes are a good effort. They're not super high level.
Right.
But they're mid-range theater stuff, believable.
Like community theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not bad.
No.
No. The shots are really good. The lighting is a little bit hot in places, but it is all outdoors.
Yeah, it is. That's something we can talk about when we get through this.
Yeah. But it's decent overall.
Right.
I mean, it's not uneven. So I get it, it's hard shooting outdoors. But what is really making this work for me at this point is the narrator, this self-aware, voice bringing you into this movie is cracking jokes and making you feel very in on it.
Yes.
With everything that's going on in the storytelling.
Yeah. So while you've been ruminating over all that, they're carrying Spit to bury him, and he wakes up. His eyes flutter, and he starts to lift his head, and they carry him under a branch, knock him on the head, and he's out again. Right? It's
oh,
I know those days.
Mm-hmm.
So they throw him in a grave and they cover him up, and then they all leave. And then the rain comes. The tribe is on their way to another home. As Spit's daughter is leaving, she drops the dinosaur toy that he made for her, not noticing that it's gone.
Yeah, it's cute and sad.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And then Spit wakes up in his grave and digs himself out. It's the hand coming up out of the dirt.
It was like Carrie.
And this zombie flick music, it's a little dark. And he discovers that his tribe is gone. So he's frantically searching everywhere for them.
Yeah.
With no luck. And he ends up finding the little dinosaur toy.
Yeah, ends up stepping on it.
Yeah.
Oh. So next thing we see is he's trying to make fire. And he gives up on that, and then he's on the move. But he was, trying to make fire with wet wood in the rain. So
wasn't going to be super effective.
Wasn't happening. And then he finds someone at the bottom of a small ravine. And I'm thinking, so is this guy sleeping? Is he unconscious? Is he dreaming? What's up with the guy?
Right.
And then they zoom in on him. And this looked like someone had emptied an entire jar of Vaseline on his face, just in globs. And we've seen it twice, because we watched it again with Midge, and
it was weird.
And I don't know what it was supposed to be, but
boogers.
Anyway, he's got big Vaseline globs on his face.
Yeah.
And then they're communicating, and then the narrator translates for us.
Yeah, because they're just kind of like, yeah.
I have 2 gifts for you. They will help you on your way.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is a rock with a small piece of bark on it. And I thought, oh, it looks like a sundial.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The second is a bone. Not sure what it's supposed to be. It's just a bone.
Yep.
Like a rib bone. It's narrow, yeah. So Spit bites on it. Nothing comes of it. And then suddenly the old man goes fetal. And I'm like, well, is he dead? Is he suffering from narcolepsy? What's up? Anyway, Spit leaves with his dual treasures, and he's off.
Yep. So he's off, accompanied by some music, which is very Lord of the Rings sounding.
Mm-hmm.
And the narrator even makes a Lord of the Rings joke.
Yep. Don't give it away.
Okay. Okay. So then Spit's out on a lava field. So he's traversing. He's trying to find his family.
He is.
Yep. It's the hero's journey now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And this lava field is pretty big.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And as it goes along, he, is looking more and more tired. You get the sense that a lot of time is passing.
Right.
And the shots are like a little bit washed out, and I get the sense that it must have been super actually hot filming.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked like the contrast. It looked like a lot of things were adjusted.
Mm-hmm.
And then anyone who's done color adjustments of any kind, when you just like try to push the contrast as much as you can and then do a color boost to try and get some of the color back.
Right.
It has a very specific look.
Yeah.
And that's what we get a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the lava field, but some places where, out in the middle of the open in Hawaii, there's a lot of sun. I get it.
Yes. Especially on lava fields.
Yes.
And so it's still, it's still hot, and he gets hot enough he has a little bag, and he reaches into the bag and pulls out mud and like covers his face and his hair in it. And I thought as I watched it, I was like, wouldn't the mud have dried out? Because it was in the sun too. I guess it was in his little leather bag.
It's his special bag. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a special mud bag. Anyway, but there are a couple of cuts like that suddenly cut to black and then followed that by just a continuation of the same shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a little jarred by those, but I think they were meant to convey more time passing.
Yeah, I think
it just wasn't a super smooth transition.
It could have been done a different way, a little bit better, because it wasn't smash cut. It was fade and then fade in.
But he's in the same spot.
Right. And
walking.
And that actually, it did take quite a while.
Yeah. But, that's fine. And then Spit ends up passing out, and he wakes up to some voices.
Yes.
Kind of like getting him up, I think.
Yeah.
And so he pulls out the sundial that Vaseline Man gave him. And
is that what you're calling him?
That's what his name is now.
Sweet.
It could be Booger Man.
I think he was in the credits. Elder Wise Man. I don't know.
Vaseline Man.
Okay, Vaseline Man.
And the sundial helps him find his way out of the lava fields into some like gorgeous lush greenery.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So boom. He's out of the lava fields on the grassy plain, and he's ecstatic. He finds water. And while he's drinking the water, Spit hears a chicken.
Yeah.
And it's across the stream from him, which I thought initially, by the way they had done the shots back and forth, it was like a stream. Turns out it was a brook.
Yes.
So, he goes to get it and this little thing. So the next thing you know, we see Spit with the chicken. And the narrator says Spit's first instincts was to cook the chicken.
As one would.
Yep. And so we see him putting the chicken down, trying to make fire. And then the chicken runs away and he chases it. And then it happens again. And then it happens again. And finally he gets the fire going. And more chicken chasing. And he's about to put it in the fire, and he apparently makes a connection with it.
They lock eyes.
Yeah. They connect. They bond. Mm-hmm. And the next thing you know, he's not cooking it.
No. They're friends now.
They are.
So he's continuing to walk, and he has the chicken on a little leash.
Yes.
It's super cute. This whole movie is super cute.
It is.
So yeah, walking across a lot of fields. And the music as he goes along is really nice. It's orchestral.
Yes.
Which is like, ooh, you know. You don't get that a lot in indie films.
No, we had talked about that a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, the music was really nice.
It was really nice.
It was very rich and proper.
And it was original music, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. So he eventually finds a cave that kind of goes out to like a largish body of water. Mm-hmm. And then he's in a field again, and he gets to a valley, and there's a lot going on in this valley. There's some like smoke coming up from craters and, you know, hot air vents in the ground. And the narrator calls it the land of smoke.
Yes.
Yeah.
So about this time, this, I put in my notes, this reminded me of Quest for Fire. Now, only with a narrator. Anyone who's seen Quest for Fire will know that it's not a family film.
Right.
It's pretty brutal. But what reminded me of it was, narrator aside, was just, it's kind of, even though it's, you know, a fun family film and, you know, it's geared towards kids who don't care if there's no spoken language.
Right.
Right. But a lot of movies, this isn't just a kid's show. It entertained us.
It did, yeah.
You know, it was just a nice little fun film. Mm-hmm. The whole thing, though, of not having, you know, spoken dialogue, words other than, you know, and then a narrator giving us the what for, that's a big risk.
Yes.
And when Quest for Fire came out, people panned it. And like, oh, there's not even like subtitles, you know. And before I go on, yes, when they did Quest for Fire, they hired like 100 linguists to basically backtrack languages from across the globe to what our Neanderthal and Cro-Magnon ancestors would have possibly sounded like.
Right.
So they spent quite a bit of time creating this language
that no one could understand.
Right. Yeah. You know. But anyway, it was just it's really like the first time since Quest for Fire that I've seen something like this. And honestly, I think Quest for Fire would have suffered with a narrator. But anyway, and this is also way more comedic.
It's so funny.
Quest for Fire is just brutal. So anyway, after trekking for a while, he sees some smoke. When he gets to it, the narrator informs us we already did that. The land of smoke. Then we're out of the land of smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So now they're hungry, Spit and his chicken.
Yes.
They find a tree with a fruit. Spit tries to knock it down with rocks. And here we go. Little point. Spit sucks at everything having to do with being a caveman. And, you know, other than the 4 close calls of knocking himself out with an airborne rock, that fruit has nothing to fear.
Right.
Right. He's just terrible at it. So he sits still. And then he looks at Puck and has an idea. So then we see him trying with the chicken to knock the fruit down. And it doesn't take long for that to come out as a real quick nope.
Right? Like throwing Puck up at it.
Yep. So again, he sits down defeated, and there we go. It hits him in the head. He and the chicken are dining on a fig. This is one of the quotes that I wrote down because I thought it was just funny. Little did Spit know that fig seeds caused severe diarrhea in chickens. And then you hear, I'm just kidding. So then they're back on the track, and Spit is following the chicken, who we learned was named Puck. and
and
moving.
It's like Puck knows where to go.
Well, if you're directionally challenged and you sort of suck at everything about being outdoors, following a chicken couldn't be any worse of an idea than trying to strike through on your own.
That's true.
And to be fair, the chicken was at least going away from where they came.
True.
And I couldn't help but think, because, our daughter, when she plays video games in open world situations, it's very frustrating to watch.
She just goes in circles.
Well, not even circles. She'll run, stop, turn around, and then go back and expect something to happen. Like, you just came from there. Yeah. And then she runs off and does a little circle, and then she'll run right back to that same point and then do stuff. I'm like, you just left here twice.
It's fine.
So I get it.
Yeah.
Trust the chicken.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they go for a while, and then it's night, and he's now in what the narrator calls a bird forest. Which I get. Lots of birds.
There's a lot of bird sounds.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Spit gets to the coast. It's beautiful. And then they do some more walking. There's lots of walking in this movie. So much walking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's his whole thing, though.
Well, I mean, it's all their thing.
Yeah. But then he comes across some dinosaurs, and they're the long neck dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And it's a really special moment for him.
That was kind of just like, bam, there it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, brachiosaurs. And then he leaves.
And then there's, yeah.
I'm like, oh, no more brachiosaurs.
Back to walking. Then he builds a fire at night, and he lays down and he looks at the stars, and he pulls out the little dino sculpture, and he thinks about his family, and it's sad. Yeah.
So the next day, they're back on the road. They stop near a stream, and Puck goes bug hunting, ends up climbing out on a piece of log hanging over the water. And I know you enjoyed this because it's one of those, when working with animals, it isn't the worst thing.
No, it isn't.
I didn't even comment on it on my notes because I've seen anytime there's an animal in a movie, they can only do so much, and then you have to entice them.
Yeah.
Right? For certain things. I mean, you can't give them commands to do all this weird shit.
I mean,
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Do you know how hard it is to train a chicken? Their brains are like smaller than a pea.
I don't think you train chickens.
I don't think
That's why he was carrying the fucker more than he was walking it on the leash. That's what I had in my notes when he's carrying him again because, he's a fucking chicken. But, so anyway, to get the chicken to go out on the end of the log, it wasn't bugs, it was bits of corn that you could see on the log. But I can think of a couple dozen major motion pictures that involved an animal of some kind where no matter how quick they try to cut it, you can see the little morsel that lured them to that point before they get it, and then they try to cut to keep the chewing and all that stuff. So really, not even an issue. I know it tickled you.
I noted it because I thought it was cute.
So anyway, Spit looks up as Puck is on the edge of this log, and into the water it goes. The log falls. Puck is in the stream. Spit's chasing after him. There's dramatic music. There's dramatic shots.
It's very dramatic.
It is.
That's his only friend.
And then, the big shot, boom, oh shit, it's a waterfall coming up. So Spit sees it, and he's on the move with more urgency. And he gets ahead of Puck. Puck nears the waterfall. Boom. Spit pulls Puck from the stream.
Yeah.
He's safe.
Rescued.
He sits back. He's so relieved. He's so happy. And Puck couldn't fucking care. Because, he's a chicken.
He is a chicken, yeah. So they've been through a lot together now. They're inseparable.
Yes.
And so they're continuing on their journey, and they find another caveman. And this guy is busy gorging himself on like a pile of bones.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what kind of bones. They look kind of biggish.
I think it was an animal. We had talked about this.
Yeah.
Is this getting dark? Was that like a person? But no, it was an animal.
But, you know.
I'm going to go with that because I don't want it.
He's like gnawing on the bones, and then he sees Spit and Puck, and I do not like the way that he's eyeing up Puck.
Right. Well, yeah, anyone who's watching is like, oh, whoa.
Hey.
Boundaries, man.
Right? I know he's like licking his lips. And it's funny.
That's a quick fucking walk to HR, Slick. You better change your fucking mode of, your mode of expression.
It's funny, and it works really well for the movie. And honestly, like, I'm so, at this point while watching, I'm so invested in the movie that I'm like, don't you touch Puck.
Right.
Like, you leave that chicken alone, mister. And the two talk for a while, and I'm still pretty suspicious of this wild man character.
He's a sketchy shit.
He is. Then they decide to take a nap because he talks Spit into taking a nap before they, you know, he's going to go with them on their journey. Mm-hmm. Let's rest up. And then I'm like, I'm totally right about this wild man. Because as they're napping, you see him and his eyes are wide open and he's clearly like salivating for Puck.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. He's waiting for Spit to go to sleep so that he can eat Puck. Total dick move.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Spit wakes up and, you know, Puck's gone because this guy took him.
Well, and the caveman's gone.
Yeah, and the caveman's gone because this guy took him to eat him. And so he's frantically looking for Puck. Like, he just saved this chicken from a waterfall.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's that bond of travel.
I know.
They're travel buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, this chicken is causing poor Spit no end of problems.
I know. It's fucking chicken, man. So then anyway, he spots the wild man, the caveman. Well, because the narrator did reference him as a wild man.
Right.
I didn't understand what made him wild. Because, well, at this point, Spit did cut his hair earlier.
When he was hot.
Yeah, he was hot as hell and the mud didn't work. But even still, the wild man looked just as, you know, Spit and his clan looked just as wild.
Yeah.
Except for his wife and daughter.
Yeah.
Again, the clean ones.
Right.
So anyway, sees this guy in the distance, races up on the wild man and tackles him. There's a melee. And Spit gets knocked down. Suddenly, he is inspired to use the bone that that Vaseline man,
yeah,
as you call him, gave him earlier. He pulls it out from his furs and throws it at the wild man, and the wild man eventually falls over the edge of the cliff with Puck in hand. Mm-hmm. So Spit's now standing at the edge of the cliff, calling out Puck's name.
I'm like, no, Puck!
I know. And there's no sign of the chicken. Spit is sad. Mm-hmm. And then suddenly, like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
In Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Puck climbs over the edge of the cliff and walks up on Spit, who is grieving, staring over the edge. He eventually looks down and sees Puck, and it's all joy and happiness. But that was the first thing I thought was, that's Indiana Jones right there.
That chicken. Yeah.
So after that, we're later at sunset. Spit is looking out over the ocean. He hears something, and he and Puck are, of course, on the run. And bam, it's his family.
Yeah.
There's a lot of joy. And the scene of the reuniting of his family, I had to note this because this one I can't give a pass. Mm-hmm. This edit was awful.
It was a bad choice.
It was a super bad choice. Mm-hmm. And I would have thought anyone in a festival would have said, hey, this was great, but you've got to re-edit, man. You've got to cut that shit out. Because what it is, it's a wide shot of his family, like stretched out almost all the way across the screen. The whole tribe. Right? Yeah. They're all walking single file. And at the end are his wife and daughter. And then all of a sudden, it's more like a 3/4.
Yeah.
You know, so as they get closer to the right side of the screen, what they did was they framed the group and then blew that up to fill up the screen. And I swear to fucking God, it looked like Minecraft.
It was very pixelated, very blurry.
It was awful. Yeah. And I'm not talking like a little glitchy thing here. Folks, if you don't know what Minecraft is, look it up. I can't hardly watch our daughter play that game.
She gets so mad when I say it's computer Legos.
I know. God, I hate that blocky shit. I can't stand it. So anyway, it's not once, but twice they do this.
Yeah.
And it's just so bad. Anyway, after that, Spit's daughter is running over to him. And again, they zoom for that, and it's pixelated as shit. And eventually he's welcomed by everyone. He gives his daughter
the little
dinosaur that he's been carrying with him. We have a happy ending.
Yeah.
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 And at the end of my notes, I put this. I have to say, God damn it, I loved this movie.
Yes. I had something similar at the end of mine.
Well, it's silly.
It is.
But this is something we're going to talk about. This is a masterful example of just simple storytelling.
Yes.
Just lay it out there. And, people can make the argument, oh, but, it's a kid's film and stuff. Look at The Lion King. Tell me how many fucking sub-stories are running there.
Or how many adults love that movie,
right. Do you know how many times I've seen The Lion King without the presence of a small child? The animated one.
A lot.
Yeah.
The scientific number of a lot.
More than I want to comfortably admit. It's an awesome movie.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things going on in it.
That's true.
And then in the new one, there's even more things going on that need to go on.
Well, yeah.
But anyway. So that is Spit. That's it.
It's not super long.
It's not super long. It's a fun little thing to watch. It's if you're, again, Monty Python. Monty Python's not always adult oriented.
No, not always.
There's you could take whole stretches of it and, show it to teens. They don't make sexual references, no innuendo, no swearing.
I mean, they do that in a lot of them, but there are whole stretches where they don't do those things.
Yeah, well, it's like a 50-50. I mean, that wasn't their hook.
No.
Right? Their hook was, this is the situation, and what's appropriate is what they did. They didn't just, not everything was a swear fest, not everything was a dick joke, all that.
Right.
So if you like that kind of fun, you're going to enjoy just sitting through this fun little story.
Yeah.
And we watched it again, as mentioned.
Yeah, with our daughter. Because we wanted to see, we think it's fun, but let's get a 10-year-old's perspective on this. And she liked it. She did. She was very attached to Puck.
Well, and I think is clearly the hook.
Yes.
It's the chicken.
Yeah.
But she dug it. She got the little things, and even at the end, she's like, the wild man and the chicken. That bastard. So she clearly wasn't up for anything happening to Puck either.
Right. People who have a chicken companion get very attached to them.
Well, she doesn't have a chicken companion. You make it sound like we don't own chickens.
No, we don't. We don't. But, it... sounds like a weird pet to have, but I've known people who have like a single chicken and like that's their buddy. But we're getting away from the point. I'm getting us away from the point.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about
which
chicken companions.
But so lessons that we can learn from this movie.
Well, the simple storytelling.
Yeah. I mean, it's the hero's journey.
It is. We see what he loves most in life, which is his wife and daughter. Oddly enough, his inventions do nothing for him. They cause the problem.
Yeah.
And somebody else gives him shit to use. Right? He doesn't invent anything to get himself out of a situation.
That's true.
He uses the sundial and the bone that he somehow identified as a throwing knife.
I mean, maybe they could have had him invent something to help him out of his situation, but it's all right.
Well, I suppose he tried to use Puck. Maybe that was part of an invention, trying to use Puck to get the fruit.
Puck
wasn't having it. Don't you throw me, asshole.
Well, but he lost his family. Then he went to find them, and, some things happened to him along the way. That's your most basic.
Well, it is. And that's where anything his inventing would have complicated the story.
Yeah.
It was just very basic. He did a lot of, in the open shots, a lot of looking out, and it was kind of, I guess there was if there was a B story, the subtext of it was his exploration. Because even the narrator at some point said, a land that they've never seen, more beautiful than this ever.
Yeah.
He and the chicken.
He'd never seen the coast,
Right.
And
mind you, this isn't taking place in Hawaii for the story. It's shot in Hawaii. It's taking place actually in the beginning
Pangea.
Animation. Yeah, it's Pangea. So he's trekked from somewhere inland to a coast.
Yeah.
On Pangea.
Yeah.
And it's just that whole thing. And the trials are simple but meaningful.
They are.
And again, it's a kid's story, but look at all the Disney films. Well, not all of them. Look at all the Disney films from the mid 80s on. Because if you look back, it's even like Robin Hood, my favorite fucking Disney film. Robin Hood played by a fox, and
there's some problems.
Well, there's some issues, but it's not a kid's movie. They're very adult themes.
Yeah.
In terms of, as a kid, I didn't understand what the political divide was all about. I didn't give all the shit. All I cared about was Robin Hood's a fox. Literally a fox.
Yeah. Foxes are cool.
And Baloo the bear is Little John.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Well, it's cool.
It is. They're all animals. I was digging it. And plus Robin Hood was my, favorite thing. So, score and score. But yeah, watching it again, because we watched it with Midge, I was watching it and I had that adult moment where there's a little more to this than I remember, and I don't like it.
I have that same thing rewatching The Great Mouse Detective, which I loved as a kid.
I know.
Because I was super into Sherlock Holmes, which, they're great stories, and that was the first kids movie that was Sherlock, it was a detective movie. And I loved it. And then I watched it as an adult because I saw it on something and I was like, oh, Lily, we got to watch this. And I watched it and I was like, ooh. Oh, man. There's some really adult stuff in here. Way over my head as a kid.
Yep.
And I don't know if I like it.
Yeah. And this didn't have any of that. There's a couple movie references. Younger kids might not get, only because they haven't seen the films. Right.
But it's not secretly dark.
No. He makes that Lord of the Rings thing. And it's funny because I don't even visualize it. And it hit me the other day because I was looking for something to put on in the background, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we watched The Hobbit a million times.
Yeah.
And we don't have Lord of the Rings on digital. I didn't feel like throwing, digging out a deep, going through all that bullshit because I just want it in the background while I'm typing away. So luckily they're on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Bam, got it going. And then, I looked and I'm like, this motherfucker is twice as old as our daughter.
Oh man, it has been a while since those came out.
It has.
Yeah.
It came out in the late 90s, the first film.
Yeah.
Right?
Dang.
So yeah, that's the only thing that might cause kids to miss that.
Right.
Because I don't know. I mean, parents like us, their kids will have seen it. Lily's aware of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and we even showed her the old animated one from the 70s.
And she just gets really annoyed with us that we're like, how come you don't understand all of our Lord of the Rings references? And she's like, I don't care about those movies.
I didn't pay attention. I just watched it. Okay. So anyway, simple storytelling. That's what this has. No extra bullshit. No trying to get super duper cute at the expense of anything. It was clearly segues into that, dips the toe in the water of the cuteness for the kids, but it just keeps it at a fun, well-paced level.
Yeah.
That's why this isn't super long, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I loved it. I wasn't sure. It was quirky. It looked, you know, fucked up enough. The, you know, story of a caveman and his chicken.
Yes.
Okay, this is going to go one of two ways.
Yep.
And I wasn't committed to either, but I was surprised that I enjoyed it as much as I did.
You know, yeah, and I think part of the reason that, you know, it is a very simple story, but one of the reasons that it worked so well was because the narrator really engaged you with the story.
Yes.
He made you feel like you were in on it and in on all the jokes.
Yes.
And like you were going on this journey with Spit.
Yeah. And there's even an E.T. joke. So that's clearly for us. You know. Yeah. Well, our daughter loved E.T.
Oh, that movie broke her.
It did. This is fun. Let's talk about this for a minute.
Okay.
Because this is it takes a lot to engage her. Right now, she's super into anime and stuff, which is great.
That's fine.
But
I like anime.
Yeah, well, I like a lot of it, but some of it is, oh my god, it's fucking General Hospital with swords. It's just the most melodramatic bullshit that goes nowhere.
It is.
But anyway, when she was younger, she would watch movies of all kinds, but she wouldn't get upset. She wouldn't get anxious. She wouldn't laugh. She just stared and watched. And I thought, she's not registering anything.
Yeah.
You know,
she never got emotionally involved.
No, which is fine, you know, because a lot of people watch movies and they're like, oh, okay, there we go. You know, they don't get all choked up and stuff.
Right.
You know, we do.
We do. Yeah.
So here it is. We showed her E.T. and you get to, you know where I'm going, folks. You get to the end where E.T. dies. She exploded.
She did.
Oh my God. You'd have thought we'd have bought her a bucket of puppies and then shot them all in front of her.
I know.
She was bawling and almost inconsolable. And we had to like spoil the movie. We're like, no, he comes back.
He's not dead.
He's sleeping. He's just sick. He gets better. We
promise. Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah. Not that we're doing E.T. and not that it's a B movie, but
right. But that's
score.
You know, that's how you make people love a movie, is you figure out a way to get them emotionally engaged.
You do.
With it.
And because it's the experience.
It is.
Whether it's, heart-wrenching anxiety or, humor, which this did. I mean, this tickled me. Yeah. And it takes a lot in deliberate films to tickle me. We've talked about that. Well done humor. And this is cute. And that's the thing, is they didn't present it like this is going to be, something that, that the Laugh House is going to have up on the walls in quotes and, streaming video and stuff. It's just, there's a funny moment.
Right.
Yeah.
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 And we've gone over the couple of other lessons you can learn from this movie. I think that, don't use zoomed shots. Don't overcorrect your color and contrast.
Let's talk about the lighting.
Okay.
Yeah, we've talked about because when we talked about orcs, there was a couple scenes that were hot, particularly on the face, and their pickup truck was white. Yeah. So, what are you gonna do with that? There's nothing you can do if you don't have all the equipment, the big giant filters to filter the direct sunlight and, to cover enough of the scene so that it doesn't look like you're holding up one of my photo diffusers in front of someone's face. And there's this why is he 70 shades fucking darker than everything else around him? that equipment's expensive, and we've gone over and over.
Well, yeah.
You know, that's not where the money goes. Money goes to whatever it is to film the goddamn thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever effects need to be in it.
Your actors.
And post-production.
Yeah.
If you can give some money to actors, then yeah. But, you know, I think this was another one that probably a lot of people didn't get paid. Seemed more like a friend's close-knit project.
And when you named the writers and the actors and stuff, there were some common last names in there. So I suspect there's, you know, friends and relations.
Yeah. Well, much like Taddy Bogle.
Well, yeah.
You know, Failure Boys, they're family.
They are.
And a friend who's family. You know, and they brought everyone else in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's how you do it. But anyway, with the lighting, I guess it's hard to say because I'm without seeing the actual shots, I don't know. Was it that bad? You know what I mean? I can't intelligently say, or with any conviction say, just leave it as it is and just run with it.
Right.
Right. Orcs, they did that.
Yeah.
But there was just a little bit. When the sky and the horizon are all blown out, and, you know, depending on the time of day that you're shooting, you know, your caveman is almost like a black silhouette against the stark white brightness of the sky. And then you've got this black lava field.
Yeah.
That's tough.
It is tough.
Anybody.
It is tough. And I guess, you know, I'll say that they did a good job doing whatever it is they did to those shots because it wasn't to the point where I was brought out of the movie, you know, entirely.
Right.
Watching it. They're just things that I noticed like, oh, that seems a little wonky.
I would have, as much as I hate color filters, right? Mm-hmm. I would have probably opted to go that route to, through color, tell a tale with that contrast to save the integrity of this looks pretty good, and then something, because you're like, is he like in an ass? Is this like Alice in Wonderland? Did he do something?
Are they using a green screen?
Right, because of the contrast lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no green screen. That's just how it looks. It's weird. But speaking of green screen, so here's how hard it can be to light the sky. Peter Jackson.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
Right? Almost every sky scene in all 6 movies is green screen. He would shoot with a section of green screen in the background with the fucking beautiful magnificence of New Zealand.
Yeah. All these Middle Earth movies.
He decided early on, I don't even want to fuck with this.
Right.
You know, because when you're up in the mountains, which, you know, they were in several shots.
They were.
Because, you know, it's high up in Hawaii. The lighting is a bitch. The atmosphere is thinner. The lighting's more intense. The reflection is just, you know.
It is.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, I do remember in those Lord of the Rings movies and the Hobbit movies, they were like, it's ridiculous because they do the sky shots and then they'd shoot us on location outside with just a giant green screen behind us, hiding all this gorgeous scenery.
Yeah. Well, it was Ian McClellan.
Yeah.
Who said, I've seen the movie and the sky behind me looks exactly like the sky that was behind me when I shot it. But Peter put that in there. You know? So, yeah. You know, shooting outdoors is a bitch, and, you know, I guess do the best you can, but I guess this is the point where you can become artistic.
Yeah.
They could have taken a little like artsy flow to it.
Well, yeah, and especially in the lava fields when he's like going through heat exhaustion and stuff, like you said, that would have been a great opportunity to like shift the color. Right.
What would have worked is that, you know, fade in, fade out, fade in, fade out, fade in, fade out. Instead of just doing it over and over and over, have it start at like a lighter shade or something, and each one get darker, darker, darker.
Right.
Like red, purple, or something to show, you know, visually he's going down.
Yeah.
He's going down. It's tearing him down, kind of thing.
Definitely.
So, yeah. And then my big thing is don't Zoom. It's because when I saw that, it's funny. I saw a quote. Who was it? Oh, I saw it. Now that I said Ian McClellan, I don't think it was him. It wasn't him. It was a director who was talking about, because of 4K, people do that instead of doing a separate shot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I can't help you. I wish that I could.
Herzog Werner.
Okay, Herzog. Okay.
He from Mandalorian. He was the bad guy.
Yeah.
The first bad guy.
Yeah.
The accent and everything. He's a film. Yeah, he's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's the one who said 4K cut zooms are cheating.
Oh.
If you're a filmmaker, make the extra shot kind of thing. And that's really what it comes down to. And, again, we're not doing film, so we don't have canisters of, whatever Kodak film product that there is, that once you expose it, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have an SD card.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure.
Or you have 70 SD cards.
Well, right. Yeah. And if you hit like, oh, this is the last one, I'm sure somebody can pony up the $8 for another fucking 8 gigabytes for that one shot.
Right.
That was real. It was hurtful, actually. It's like all the care and fun that went into all of this. And then that Zoom shot just was, don't do it, people. Yeah. Even if you think you can pull it off with the resolution, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Take that extra shot.
Right.
Yeah. The acting.
The acting was really good.
Well, it was what it was. It's hard to gauge. That's kind of the thing. It wasn't authentic Caveman, right?
Well, no, it wasn't.
But clearly they got their intentions across.
Yeah.
I mean, you weren't, except for Vaseline Man, I wasn't really questioning what anybody's story was.
I'm just going to say that it was boogers. He was just covered in boogers.
I don't know.
Boogers.
I'm going with Vaseline.
Right.
Some sort of petroleum jelly accident.
Caveman didn't have Vaseline.
Some sort of petroleum jelly accident.
What did he stick his head into?
I don't know. He's a caveman. Any number of things would be candidates for sticking his head into, I'm guessing. So anyway. But the performances were very visual. Again, which reminded me of Monty Python.
Mm-hmm.
Very expressive. Yes. Very full frame. Nothing was subtle.
No.
It was really well pantomimed. Really well.
Yeah.
Everything that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Can't complain about the chicken.
The chicken did an excellent job.
For a chicken, it really did.
Yeah.
We talked about the music. That is what helped make this really fun to watch.
It did.
And kind of pulled you in. Was that music, that original scored music.
Which contrasted really, in a really fun way with the very, campy, cheesy aspect of the movie. It did.
It was a surprise when it kept coming up. I'm like, that sounds really good. I can hear all the, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. In the meantime, I'm looking at Vaseline on screen,
Right.
So, yeah. If you can, we've talked about it before, get someone to do music. Hopefully someone in your tight group can do music.
Yeah.
But there are people out there who will do little bits and pieces for super, super cheap. That comes back again. What does cheap mean for indie film? Usually it means free or better than free.
Well, yeah. And I want to stress the importance of, if you have a friend who has a band and they have, good music,
mm-hmm.
You don't need to necessarily use that for your movie in order to just have original music. get music done specifically for your movie.
Well, yeah. This could have easily been a garage band.
Yes.
Tracks all through it, which I'm not going to lie, I was kind of expecting.
Well,
because it all sounds the same. But yeah, no, it fit.
Yes, it was
specifically
done
too
for it.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
How most films do it.
Yes,
they make the movie, and then the orchestra watches the movie. As the composer director, like, this is what I came up with. Now follow me. Bum, 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 bum,
Well, yeah, it's made specifically to go along with the scenes.
Yes, and 9 times out of 10 they hit the mark. Mm-hmm. There's some movies we've seen where we're like, huh, that music was a little too exciting for this scene.
Well, yeah.
Huh. Clearly, he was way more jazzed watching this than we were.
Or he was trying to oomph up the excitement of the scene with the music.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that. I hate foreshadowing by music.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking hate that.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Music should suit the mood and set the pace.
Yes.
But yeah, that
it shouldn't be something that you lean on to help, amp up, if your scene enough isn't, dramatic or exciting or thrilling enough, it's not the music's job to make it more so. It's the music's job to bring it together.
Yeah. Totally. Beginning, middle, end. I'll backtrack though. Horror movies, yeah. I think it's absolutely fine. Cause you think of Halloween, you think of Jaws, Friday the 13th, you're like,
oh, someone's gonna die.
Something's not right. Why don't they know? Yeah. And then it slowly builds to it. So that's a little bit different. So the thriller, suspense, horror thing where it's kind of pulling you in. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. So if they just started Jaws, right? And there's all this stuff going on, so we're and then nothing happens. We cut to, Amity and they're doing their thing and this and that. And it's 20 solid minutes of nothing. And then all of a sudden, and then back to nothing. That's the shit that I hate. They drop the musical cues for no reason. There's no thread to it.
By the way, this is a horror movie still. Just hold on a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's because Halloween, the opening music to Halloween, that's as recognized. Yeah. It's not ripped through the whole movie though.
No.
Who's in that car? No. No. If anything, you get the kind of just it's a couple notes, little thing. Anyway, don't use your garage band for music just for music.
Yeah.
Do what you can. Makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you have any more lessons that you want to go through in this?
Oh, there's plenty.
I think there are a lot.
The writing. I just, let's talk about the whole film.
Yeah.
It's a family film. Like we said, it's rare. And it's not easy. I'm going to say this. We have a lot of followers who are authors, and a lot of them are young adults, and some are children's authors. And I get living your mind in that genre.
Yeah.
Right. But say you're a writer in general. That's novels and stuff. So in a novel, you can put yourself in a genre and go. As a screenwriter, you aren't allowed to do that. You have to be able to fucking write anything and everything for the job, and if you're bad at it, you're bad at it and you don't do it. Like we talked about comedy.
Yeah.
We'll never do a full on, like a sitcom. Just can't. Can crack jokes, can make things funny, but not gonna be able to do, 300 episodes of pratfalls and slapstick. Right. But can do almost everything else. that these folks, because not all their other shorts and stuff are kids stuff.
They're not all family stuff.
Right. The fact that they did this, I mean, that's hard because we did a family script.
Yes.
And it was hard
because
as grown-ups, your inclination is to respond, is to see a situation through adult eyes.
Yeah.
You know, like, you pig fucker. That's the wrong way to go.
It's true.
You know, you have to back it out to you doofus, and then you have to take it down to the age level and what's going on there, and how do they say it, perceive it, and what motivates them to get in that whole blah, 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 blah.
Well, yeah.
You know, and that's just for the story. Never mind the dialogue. You know, that's a separate beast. Pacing out the story is hard.
Yeah.
Full marks to these guys for doing that.
Well, yeah, and it was, I also want to say this, you know, this script, and we've mentioned, it was very simple. The story was very simple.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that as writers, one of the things that we've gotten back are like, oh, where's the extra storylines and stuff? You know, obviously this worked really well.
Mm-hmm.
And there weren't extra storylines.
No, and that's kind of the thing. It's that cookie cutter shit.
Don't be afraid to, you know, like, if your story is good as it is and it's simple and you know it, don't be afraid to stick to your guns about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if this were more complicated than it is, it would be less enjoyable, I think.
It would. It would. And that's the whole thing with independent film is, you know, I don't have to fucking care about anybody, what they say. Because going back on what you said, yeah, we have received a lot of, and none of this shit is consistent. That's the thing. If you're, you know, listening to this and taking notes and doing your stuff and watching films, trying to get ideas and, you know, working out how to get out there and get into all this, understand one thing. If you put 100 fucking producers in a room, you're going to get 100 fucking different views. And then if you add another 100 fucking agents, you're going to get another 100 fucking completely, no two will ever match up. Because here's the thing. They all understand the cookie cutter.
Yeah.
That's what Hollywood is. Hollywood is cookie cutter. If they're like, oh, original script, that's what kills me. It's not fucking original. It has the same shit in it. The idea concept might be something that hasn't been thought of for a while. Gotcha. You know. But please.
Hollywood hasn't wanted an original script in like 50 years.
Right. And we have people on Stage 32 who argue that. And the Stage 32 member or you know, staff be like, you know, when they say that, that's bullshit. No, it's not. It's not. Because when they get something original, then they have to try and fit it back into their cookie cutter. Because we have gotten both. We have gotten, why is there so much extra stuff going on? Like with the family script. Right. Right. And there's not a lot of stuff going on. That's the fucking story.
I know.
Like, did you think this was just about baking shit? You know, is this 90 solid minutes of a kid having problems with a fucking oven?
It's not a cooking show.
No, you twat tuft. It's a fucking movie about young people ill-equipped to deal with the emotional, you know, things that happen when you're a kid, balancing friendships and dreams and responsibilities and what's more important. And I've got to do this, but I don't want to let them down and this. And then how do the friends react and da-da-da.
Right?
Right?
She bakes because that's a cute thing that kids do. Like, it doesn't really have anything to do with the story.
Right. She, you know, she's not building, you know, fucking rockets. She's not, you know, this is her thing that she does. Mm-hmm. She does it well. There's a specific reason.
Yeah.
And good things start to come of it, but it cuts into her life and it changes her dynamic. Mm-hmm. Right? That's a classic story. Yes. Right? How do you deal with all these changes? Mm-hmm. And, you know, there's, it gets, you know, worse before it gets better.
Well, yeah.
And then there's someone who's like, oh, what's the other story? What do you mean the other story?
What other story?
There's a couple already going on. So, yeah, you know what? Fuck them. Fuck them. You know, the notes that we when it comes to notes like that, fuck them. Don't listen to that. Because if someone's going to tell you, keep it simple, rock that A story all the way through. And there's going to be people who are going to tell you, you need a conflagration of fucking things going on that have on the periphery that all have to resolve at the end.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like a TV show at the end of the episode, so you can move your primary story into the next one.
Right.
You know,
like Spit also needs to be figuring out how to rescue the dinosaurs and, you know, find Puck's family as well as his own.
Well,
and,
yeah, some sort of evolutionary thing. Spit is torn. The dinosaurs, they're my origin. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm sorry. It's so fucking stupid. I just can't. But I would be willing to bet you if we could erase Spit from the consciousness and existence of this world and take this script and hand it to somebody, I fucking promise you within the first 20, someone would bring that up.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you have him, you know, Spit's now conflicted because he saw his ancestors and he wants, you know, that's where he belongs. Kind of bullshit. It's a fucking chicken, man. Kids show or not, it's a chicken.
Well, yeah. I love this movie so much.
It is. And that's just it. Keep it simple, guys. Stick to your script, stick to your story.
Yeah.
You know, and again, this is, you know, it's weird because we talk indie filmmakers. We don't talk B movie makers, right?
Right.
I mean, it's not a thing. I mean, we've already said all indie movies are in the B movie category, but not all B movies are in the indie movie category.
Right.
Right. So anyway, as a filmmaker, period, you know, unless you are funded by a studio who gave you a tiny check to do a project and you're kind of stuck listening to them, do your thing. It's you wrote it, you're directing it, or your brother wrote it and you're directing it, or whatever.
Or you're producing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Stick to your guns and your story. You know, because I tell you what, that's what makes these things so fucking delightful.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen so much good stuff because this is the movie I want to make. And it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are going to enjoy it.
They are.
Like we enjoy them.
And, you know, that's it. I think we got the music, we got the lighting.
Yeah.
Sound was pretty good.
Yes.
The only other shot you had noted was the helicopter shots in the beginning.
Oh, yeah. They were a little shaky.
It seemed like they actually took a ride on one of the helicopter tours.
Yes.
Because at first I thought, ooh, man, I'd be afraid to fly a drone way the fuck out past the edge of the island over the ocean like that.
That's true.
And then it became very clear, that's not a drone.
They're in a helicopter. Yeah. And I didn't want to harp on that too much because if you're trying to film from a helicopter and you're like just doing it on your own, that's super tough. You can't stabilize a camera in a helicopter without a shitload of really expensive equipment.
Well, it took up until the late 80s, early 90s for someone in Hollywood who finally invented a specific device for the helicopter.
Yeah.
To reduce the shake.
Yeah.
You know.
And yeah, I did notice it, and then I didn't want to harp it because I was like, well, I'm really used to now seeing drone shots, which are like really smooth usually if you get a good drone pilot.
Right.
And, you know, and then I saw that and I was like, oh, that's really shaky. And then I realized why, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's forgivable.
Yeah.
And again, get the shot, man. I guess that's the thing.
Do what you have to do.
You know, yeah. And if it doesn't look perfect, fuck it. It's
right.
It's no different than us doing this podcast. I spend a lot of time on the sound and making sure we sound decent, not like we're, you know, talking through the bottom of a toilet or, you know, in a cavernous basement. However, when we do interviews, because they're through Skype or Hangouts or over the phone, and I have no fucking control how that's going to go.
Yeah.
I can try and clean it up afterwards, and to me, it sounds okay. You know, here's the beginning, or
it sounds better
before,
than the raw.
Yeah, and then here's
stuff.
After. But, you know, I'm not happy with it. But here's the thing. Fuck it. It's a talk. You know, I'm not going for a Grammy on smooth silence.
Well, we get what we get.
Yeah, we get what we get.
Skype
make the most of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, do it. Take the shot that you need to tell your story, and you know, don't apologize for it.
No. And you don't need to.
No.
And if some asshole like me is like, that's kind of a shaky shot, be like, well,
get bent.
Yeah. You do it better.
Exactly. And that's swinging all the way back around Okay. Even for these minor things, which are not a big deal. Although, well, no, the last thing is a big deal. That was
Zoom thing,
the Zoom thing was super bad. I just, shame.
Naughty.
Other than that, not a lot to bitch about, but even if there was, they made a film.
They did.
When Velocipaster just was a super disappointment, but
they made a film?
Yep. They made a film.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing they have over everybody else who hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing we can't hit them on is, well, here's a group of guys who had this really, boneheaded idea and, showed us these fucking things they were going to use, which would have looked terrible, but they never shot the movie. In fact, they didn't even write it. I mean, first of all, how would you even talk about that?
Right.
Who would tune in for that? But, they made a film and we gave them credit for it and hat tip to it. And we do have respect for the fact that they made their project.
Yes.
So, it comes back to it, folks. Make your project, write your project, direct your project, or push to get some funds, whatever your role is in this shit. Write some music and go find a project.
Yeah.
If you're like, man, I would love to compose for a movie or a short film or something. That would be kind of cool. Well, make some stuff up in your head and then find some people making some shit that is related to the mood that you're going for.
Yeah.
And that's your demo reel.
Boom.
Right? Bam. Yeah.
Kablow.
So, we've said it before. Make 2020 the year you do it.
Do it.
Shoot something, make something, write something, whatever it is. Do it. Doesn't have to be great, perfect. Like I said, shooting it on an iPhone. If you're want to write a script, write a fucking script. Don't even think A, B, C, act 1, 2, 3. Just write something out. First draft, man, could be anything.
When you finish that first draft of a script, if that's what you're doing, if you're going to write scripts, and that's why you're listening to this, right?
Yes.
When you finish that first draft of a script, whether it's your first script or your 10th script.
But it's the first draft of that script.
That is such an amazing feeling.
Oh, it is.
It's so,
yes.
It's like crack. Like, it feels so good.
Well, and the thing is, it could be like 120 pages of a run-on sentence.
Yeah.
All you have to do is say, I'm going to do the first draft.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to write it, even if I don't like it. It doesn't feel, just keep pushing those pages. Do 2 pages a day, 1 page a day, whatever it is. Get that shit out. Because then at some point this year, you can be like, I fucking did it.
Yeah.
I did it. I wrote it, or I shot my little, 5-minute thing on my phone, or recorded something, anything.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're going to feel so good about it.
Well, you're one step closer to the bigger thing, the bigger thing, the next thing. Because that's all this is. It's not a one-shot deal.
It's a really long staircase.
There's the fantasy stories, the fairy tales, and everything, and some of them, are true. We've talked about a bucket list. Okay, getting a multi-million-dollar payout for your script, you got a better chance of winning the lottery.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not what you're going for. You're going to look to sell something, maybe get some residuals for it, but then you're looking to get the next thing done, and the next thing done, and the next thing done.
Get your page on IMDb.
Yep. And you can't get to the next thing until you do the first thing.
That's right.
And then so on and so on and so on. So do it, me. Do it. Get out there. And when you're not out there writing, filming, composing, or, checking the couch cushions for money for your budget, visit our website.
Yes.
www.lordsofmisruleproductions.com.
Yeah.
Because on there's everything.
We have a blog there. We have all the episodes of our podcast there.
Yes.
All the links to where you can get the podcast and links to our social media accounts and emails. You can email us and we will respond to you. Yep. We love getting emails.
For those who are following on Twitter, it's getting wildly out of control. I try so hard. I've said this before. I try so hard to like and review and stuff. I can't. Like, I'll sit here and I'll pull up TweetDeck and it looks like a New York stock ticker tape machine. It's just going. It's not stopping. I look up and I'm like, oh, what? Oh, it's gone. And I'll scroll. I can't find it. I'll post something. It'll show up and then get sucked into the vacuum. And I'll look. I'm like, oh my God, this is like 50, 75, 100 posts down. And I just did it. So anyway, if you like and retweet us, thank you. Mm-hmm. I do try to return the favor. Twitter is just also kind of a fucking nightmare. They jacked shit up so bad. But if you want to reach out to us, through social media, go ahead and send a message.
Yeah.
Yeah. Replying to a tweet, I try to get them, but again, the notifications is a little wonky too. Go ahead and message us. That's fine. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Would love to get back to you. Better yet, go to the website, click on an email link, and give us more than
Send us an email.
140 characters.
Yes.
Well, it's up to, but anyway, you know what I mean.
If you're a filmmaker or an actor or a producer and you've made something that you want us to watch, shoot us an email.
Yeah.
We're all about it. We're all about, supporting the indie community and the B-movie community. We love, independent filmmakers, and we love watching these little gems and little darlings.
Yep. If you've had anything to do with a B-movie in terms of composing, or you were hired to play somebody's composition, reach out to us, because, if you're still looking to work and this is your thing, or you're new at it, whatever, we want to hear your work, see your work, whatever.
Yes.
And, we might want to talk to you, see about bringing you on and, talk about your journey, see what's going on. If nothing else, it's just cool to talk to people, That's true. Increase your circle.
There are so many aspects of filmmaking, and even, we're not experts in all of them.
No.
No. And we'd love to talk to people who know more than we do about this process.
Especially if you know color correction. What was that?
That feels like it was.
That was the ghost of movie angst who lives in this office when I'm here.
Oh. Yeah.
Anyway.
If you know about color correction, Jim's going to want to talk to you for a very long time.
Oh, God, yeah.
If you like our podcast and you want to support us financially, you can go to our Patreon page, which is linked on our website, lordsminstrelproductions.com. Or if you want to go directly to it, you can't search for us on Patreon because we're an explicit podcast.
Right. We don't come up in the search results.
So it's patreon.com/Bravo for the B-side.
All one word.
All one word.
Yeah. Become a patron, and we got some info on there. And like we keep saying, there's a lot of things we would love to just get into that we've been, like, our toes have been on the edge of so-and-so would love to do this with us and that and stuff. And, here's the bottom line, folks. Shit costs money.
It does.
Right? Movies aren't made for free. and
right?
And, sponsoring movies can't be done for free either.
That's true.
We can bring stuff up, review stuff. But we'd like to do some live shows. We'd love to do some movie marathons, at least where we are locally. And then maybe even, a couple times a year, move around. I mean, that would be fantastic to celebrate, B movies, in their entirety, and from cult classics to just, great things, and bring people together, fans, movie community, indie filmmakers, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. So, plus, we want to do stuff for members.
Yes.
So, I mean, we have they look like pretty high goals, but, we want to get some swag.
We do.
Give members swag, not discounts on swag. We want to get some swag and send you shit.
Real life swag.
Yeah, like once a month or once every 2 months. Hey, new thing of swag coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's the plan.
Yep.
But we need patrons for that.
We do. We'll love you forever if you become a patron.
Well, yeah. Well, we love you forever for listening.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But it's a special kind of love if you give us money.
That sounds... I'm not going to go into what that sounds like.
There's that. That's that ghost again. Actually, I think
what are you going to do?
It's Wolverine.
I don't like that you're trying to blame this on Wolverine. What are you trying?
Well, he's all pissed off. He's stuck next to a TIE fighter being piloted by a Velcro zombie that's straddling Poe Dameron's helmet. So he's nowhere near all of his superhero buddies on the other side of the room here. I always feel like he's just looking at me like he's just, you motherfucker.
He's just mad in general.
Why me?
All right.
Okay. All right, folks. Thank you for listening. And we will get back at you next week.
Mm-hmm. With another wonderful B-movie.
Yeah. So until then, keep pushing it and keep listening. And we'll meet you next week right here. B-Siders.
Yeah. All right. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.